Hi everyone, and welcome back to a bit of vintage sewing with Daisy. Today I want to tell you about a project that I've been working on recently and I've just finished, and it's something I had in the pipeline for quite a while. I bought the pattern quite a while ago, and it's a 1930s Art Deco style coat. First off, as my usual, I just wanted to give an overview as to what I'm wearing for this video, and this is a cape that I made a couple of years ago, I think. It's just pretty much self-drafted, very simple, but with some armholes in there. So that's made out of some upholstery fabric, I think, and I got this at the Good Stitch Goring. It's quite sort of heavy, goes nicely over a coat. So there you go, that's what I'm wearing today. So back to the pattern, and this is the pattern that I bought. It's from the Vintage Pattern Lending Library on Etsy, and it's a coat with some stunning 1930s details on there. I cut the pattern out quite a long time ago and didn't do anything with it because it's, as you can see, it's got some details on it. It's a little bit scary. It had this amazing collar here, and it's very isometric. I cut the pattern out ages ago, but the pattern just sat there. I think I was a bit scared to tackle it with all these isometric details, and I think bits that it had on it is a bit scary. Inspiration from Samantha Loves to Sew on Instagram, who was in the process of doing a YouTube for her 1930s winter fashion, and I just thought the coat fitted the bill perfectly. So it bolstered me into action and thought, well, okay, I better sew it. I've had the material for quite a while, so let's get on with it and just sew it, because if I wait much longer, it's going to be summer and the fabric's wool, so it's going to be too hot to wear it. So here, well, I just got on with it. A little bit longer than my usual makes because there are so many pieces in it, and also it's got a lining, and I hate doing linings. They really are my nemesis. Everyone's got something in sewing that they don't like if they sew. Mine is linings. I did think about making it without a lining, but then I thought, no, better put a lining in it because it makes it feel better and it just gives it that extra weight. So here are the pieces. You can see that there's quite a lot. You've got a different front there, left front, right front. The sleeves here have got these little V shapes in them, which fit in with the yokes. So there's the right front, left front yoke, and then this bit here is the collar, which, as you can see, is quite dramatic. I think these 1930s coats take a lot of detail from the Art Deco period, and also from the old Hollywood films that were around at that time. They're quite glamorous. And it's just, I mean, it's nothing like what's around today. It's just very over the top, very beautiful details and styling. So here we go. Listening to me rambling on. So anyway, rambling on too much. I'm going to show you the coat. The fabric is as you can see, yellow and black brushed wool. And I think that I might have bought it from the fabric merchant. It was roughly £10 per metre, and to be on the safe side, because it was asymmetric, I ordered, I think, 4 metres. So not inexpensive, but beautiful fabric. It's got a real sort of nice heavy weight to it, and it feels lovely and soft. In fact, you could actually wear it without a lining if you wanted to. The only thing that I didn't take into consideration when I bought it was matching up the checks, and happily they do seem to have matched on the front, although at the shoulders and on the yoke I didn't match them up. I can't believe I had this fabric for so long before actually sewing it, because it is really rather beautiful. I'm just going to take you through some of the details on the coat, and obviously the first thing that you can see is this outstanding 1930s collar. not that difficult to sew actually, but you did have to be careful because it was asymmetric when you cut things out, because one false move and you've cut the side with the wrong facing the wrong way, and that could be a bit of a disaster. One of the other lovely little details on it is this yoke here, and that comes all the way down the sleeve. And earlier I just showed you how the sleeve went into a V shape, the pattern of the sleeve. So this yoke is actually stitched, top stitched onto the sleeve here. And that was the only way that I could think of doing it. And I did sew some bias binding onto the edge here so that I could stitch that down without having to fold the bulky wool fabric under. So I had these buttons in my stash as well. They were bought in a thrift shop somewhere on holiday. Happily, I had 3 of them, which was perfect for the coat. So that was a real bargain after the expense of the wool. I did put in here some extra press studs. I've put one in here and a couple more, one here up on the neck, and then another one just on the inside there, because I didn't interface the collar. I did put some wadding into it to give it a bit of stiffness, but as you can see, it doesn't actually stand up on its own. But that's quite nice, because you could then, even though you can see that little press stud, you could then wear it with the collar folded down or turned down like that. I think the coat would look really nice in this fabric if it was cut on the bias, so turning the checks round, because that's really a 1930s detail. As I didn't have enough fabric, I just cut them square on, but I did do a couple of details. One of them was this pocket here, and I've only put the one pocket on because it just didn't look right because of the double-breasted detail. It didn't look right to have a pocket on the other side. And I also put some little cut on the bias, these little sleeve details here on the end, which are sewn into the seam and just tacked down with a button. So they just give it an extra little 1930s detail there. One thing I did notice about this pattern, and it is actually comes up as a 34 bust, so it probably did have some room for grading it up a little bit, but with the complexity of the pattern, it wasn't something that I wanted to try. But anyway, it's quite fitted. I did make a little belt to go with it, but it sort of spoilt the line. So we've got this nipped in at the waist here, and very fitted around the top and just straight down. One thing I did find with the actual pattern, if I did make it again, which I probably won't, is that the ends of the sleeves are quite narrow. So it's a bit difficult. It's almost like a dress sleeve. So I'm finding I can't really wear anything thick underneath it, which is fine, because as long as it's not too cold, I can just wear a thin top underneath it. As it's made of wool, it's a really warm, cosy coat. Just another little detail here are these bound buttonholes, which oddly enough were instruction number 1 on the pattern when I came to sew it. It's really rather odd. I'm not used to doing buttonholes until the end of the project. And what happened here, if I open up, that's the facing on the inside. And what I've had to do is just match up the buttonhole, because this facing, as you can see, it's like, I don't know if you can see there, it's like, it doesn't join to the front of the coat. So there are 2 separate holes for the buttons. You have to be really careful to make sure that they are lined. Otherwise, it would look a bit odd when I did the buttons up and something would go wrong with the fabric. Finally, I put a nice yellow lining in there. I had to be really careful cutting that out to make sure how complicated that was, because we've got isometric and also inside out because it's the lining. But yeah, it worked. As I mentioned at the start, the pattern was from an Etsy seller, the Vintage Pattern Lending Library, and it's just sold as a 1930s standing collar coat. It was a PDF pattern, so printing went on forever, and quite big pieces as well. So in view of the fact that I'm probably not going to make this coat again, I've now thrown the pattern away. I will keep the details of it just so I've got it for reference. And because I bought it on Etsy, I can download it again and just cut it out if I ever feel the urge to make this coat again. Yeah, there we go, just a close-up of the pieces there. Here it is, my winter coat, my winter 1930s item for Samantha Loves to Sew and her vlog, which will be upcoming very soon. I don't think I'm going to be making a coat again soon. I do have some plans for some more 1930s garments with lots of nice details on. So stay tuned if you want to see those. In the meantime, here's the coat on. Thanks for tuning in.